Thank you very much, Valencia, our press secretary. I want firstly to extend greetings to my fellow citizens and residents, and indeed to all who are listening through Radioland and TVland and through any of the social media platform. Tonight we continue our conversation about the safer and stronger future which we promise to deliver during the second term of our Team Unity administration. The weight of this commitment lies on my shoulders, and I remain strong in the view that should we adopt an all-of-society approach, we can stabilize our economy and have it back on the path of growth, job creation, and expansion of opportunities for our farmers, our fishers, our young people, indeed for their mothers and fathers too. It is my wish that we put every able-bodied person into productive and constructive engagement. St. Kitts and Nevis has been fortunate over the last 5 years to have benefited from strong and effective leadership, which has led to consistent growth year after year, record levels of surpluses, allowing the payment of double salaries by the federal administration, both to our own employees and to those on the Nevis Island administration's payroll 4 years in a row. We have seen over the last 5 years record number of business licenses being issued, a record number of loans to small businesses as a result of our Fresh Start loan program, record number of housing solutions being offered to our people. Indeed, some 4,000 plus housing solutions have been made available to our people. Through the NHC, some 400 housing solutions. The HELP program provided support to 400 families, and the First Time Mortgage Program assisted 565 persons. Our hurricane relief response has benefited over 3,233 families. Social Security data reflects the positive impact of this era of economic growth and fiscal surpluses. The record will show that in 2014, there were 26,958 contributors. By 2019, that had grown tremendously to 29,986 contributors, an increase of over 3,028 contributors over the 26,958 contributors we inherited in 2014. The number of employees grew from 27,600 in 2014 to a best ever record at the end of 2019 at an average of 29,160 persons. The self-employed data reflect that the contributors there grew from 982 in 2014 to 1,374 in 2018. Total wages, which stood at 790 million in 2014, would reach the $1 billion mark under my leadership in 2018, the highest record of earnings in the Federation. In sum, the growing economy under Team Unity reached people, real people, in the alleyways and the byways, in the rural communities, in Bastia, in Charlestown. We presided over inclusive growth. More persons benefited from jobs, from self-employment, and more opportunities were available to our people. more money was also being paid out to people than ever before. When COVID-19 began waging its war of dislocation against the world in 2019 and in St. Kitts and Nevis by the first quarter of 2020, we were very strong as a nation. We had the best fiscal position compared to any country in the region. Our fiscal balance was about 9% of our GDP, while Grenada was next behind, somewhere at 5%. And we had close to over 30,000 persons on record. COVID-19 came with its turmoil, undermining our economy. It shocked our society, and it caused us to rethink life and living. Thanks to the brilliance and patriotism of our health experts, we have weathered the first bout of COVID-19. No deaths, no admissions, and those who have been tested positive have recovered nicely. COVID-19, of course, started as a health pandemic, and it has now morphed into an economic recession with huge consequences of unemployment, poverty, social retrogression, and the reversal of growth around the world. The latest World Economic Outlook put out by the IMF for June 2020 reveals the following. The world output, which stood at 2.9% of GDP in 2019, is now being projected at 4.9% negative in 2020. The largest and most powerful economy, United States, recorded growth of 2.3% in 2019. In 2020, growth is projected to decline by a massive 8%. For the Euro area, growth in 2019 was recorded at 1.3%. For 2020, it is estimated that growth will fall by a massive 10.2%. United Kingdom recorded growth of 1.4% in 2019, and in 2020, the growth is projected at negative 10.2%. Canada recorded growth at 1.7% in 2019. For 2020, it is expected to record negative growth of 8.4%. Latin America and the Caribbean, at near nil growth in 2019, is projected for 2020 to experience negative 9.4% growth. So the story is the same, that COVID-19 basically has challenged and destabilized all economies. Across all geographical economic classifications of advanced economies, emerging markets, and developing economies with its sub-regions of emerging and developing Asia, emerging and developing Europe, Latin America and the Caribbean, the Middle East and Central Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, low-income and developing countries. I promise to lead our people of St. Kitts and Nevis to the Canaan land, the metaphor for a better place post-COVID-19. Tonight we will be focusing our thoughts on our own realities, but more so on our future, how we make it to the stronger future. We will bring an institutional and people response to the crisis. Our government, our parliament, and our people are all that we have at this time. To contain the destabilizing impact of COVID-19, we announced the largest and the most comprehensive response on a per capita basis to COVID-19. To mitigate the impact on our people, we announced a $1,000 grant by Social Security. The $500 PAP program was to be extended. We waived water charges for 3 months in the first instance. We instituted a moratorium on electricity bills for 3 months, a moratorium on mortgage payments for 6 months. Indeed, we put the people first, and in particular, those most severely hit by COVID-19. To mitigate the impact on our institutions, and in particular, our institutions of business, we announced a reduction of corporation tax from 33% to 25% over the pertinent period we are now considering. We announced further reduction in taxes on unincorporated business, a massive reduction of 50% from 4% to 2%. For the medium and long term, we said that we will reset and prioritize agriculture. By agriculture, we make reference to crops, livestock, and the fisheries sector in particular. And our interest then and now is on maintaining food security and indeed improving on it and enhancing the income flows to our farmers and fishers. Since that time, we can say that 135 acres of land have been made available from the 400 acres of land which we redeem from the land for debt swap arrangement. Our farmers have benefited from free betical treatment for the animals, the fencing of wires, seeds, and seedlings, and free harrowing services. We also announced that for the medium term, we would want to jumpstart construction, and in this regard, we made $30 million, or we pledged then, to support through those who are interested in home financing via the aegis of the Development Bank. We pledged then, way back in March the 24th, that we will provide support to small businesses via a Fresh Start program with a tranche of $5 million. There are other areas which we are looking forward to help in the jump-starting of our economy. And these areas will include ICT, our CBI program, the financial services sector. All these we wish to become more effective as growth drivers, and they will be the subject of dialogue with critical stakeholders, including the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Indeed, before the onslaught of COVID, we had started that dialogue with the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the banking and financial stakeholders, and we will widen the consultations and discussions to involve the workers' movement in the near future. In terms of other institutional responses to the COVID-19, we are delighted that the Social Security has come on board. And tonight we are privileged to have the CEO of the Social Security Scheme, or the director, and he will answer questions on the constructive role the institution can and is playing in igniting activity going forward. Social Security has played a critical role in housing development and education support to the Development Bank and other institutions, and indeed it has over time supported the development of our economic infrastructure. The second cruise pair come quickly to mind, as would other projects on the island of Nevis and on the island of St. Kitts. We now need Social Security to be part of a new sizable resource mobilization program to get our economy back to work again. Indeed, it is my view that we must again reimagine the role of socioeconomic institutions in the task of nation building by our people. We must not continue to expect others to do for us what we must now do for ourselves. In this regard, again, I want to recognize that the Development Bank has played a constructive role in education, being the largest provider of student loans in our country. It has filled the void in housing and in small business support. Our commercial banking sector is a critical part of the institutional response which we must make in the near future. Indeed, in the past, the inflexibility of foreign commercial banks and their risk aversion to nation building paved the way for indigenous banks and financial institutions to come forward. New policy prescriptions are required to consolidate them as genuine development partners. We are grateful nonetheless that the commercial banks supported the recommendation from the Monetary Council through the ECCB to grant a 6-month moratorium on all mortgages. I am advised that there were 2,531 beneficiaries of the deferral relief or moratorium program across member institutions. This is significant. Over 2,531 persons benefited in having their mortgage payments deferred. I am further advised that deferrals were provided collectively on over $258 million in mortgages. So this, of course, has been a significant relief. Turning to the manufacturing sector, which has always been an interesting part of the socioeconomic activity in St. Kitts and Nevis. One would recall that St. Kitts and Nevis is the largest exporter of manufacturing products from the OECS and Barbados, and that reality has been in existence for a very long time. I am pleased to report that our manufacturing sector and our enclave manufacturing sector in particular is making steady progress in putting our people back to work. Since COVID-19 and the closure of a number of our factories, all 7 major export manufacturers are now back in business. 720 employees are back to work out of a total of 982. That is 73% of manufacturing workers are out to work. We expect by October, more workers will be back on the job as the employers satisfy the protocols established by our National Emergency Operating Center, or the NEOC. I want just very briefly to look at some of the data that has been made available to me by the NEOC with respect to the situation pertaining to the critical or the largest manufacturing employers in St. Kitts and Nevis. Jaro Electronics, the manufacturing sector, had a total staff of 300, of which 156 already at work. Jaro is currently operating 1 shift. Cajola Cristado has a total pool of 205 employees. The number currently working stands at 158. 47 of its employees are at home. Cajola Cristado is operating 2 shifts. API Harrow Server has 225 employees, or had at the time of COVID-19. Presently, 183 of them are back to work. Harrow Server is operating 1 shift. The Carib Brewery has an employee base of 140 persons. To date, 135 are now back on the job. Electrofab had 69, 45 of whom are back to work, and Electrofab Limited is operating 1 shift. St. Kitts Brushes had 35 employees, 35 are back to work. And we have the Marara Distillers engaged in manufacturing. My understanding is that it has 8 employees, 8 are out to work. We expect that after certain repairs and renovation work, Jaro will be back to near full capacity. More persons at work makes it better for our economy, better for our families, indeed better for all of us. I want to make it clear that the workers have returned under new protocols at the workplace, and by and large, the protocols would require that there be enhancement in terms of sanitation, respect and compliance with social distancing rules, new arrangements for lunch and for gathering at the workplaces. We have been able to do all of this in an orderly way and to get our people back to work. I think this speaks well to our people, our workforce, and to the high quality of engagement and response from the National Emergency Operation Center. Of course, some of the workers who have underlying conditions by the rules would be required to work from home. And so the at-home statistics would reflect some of that element. The other sector which I want to look at briefly is the agriculture sector. And I can report that to date, we have spent just about $5 million on fisheries, crops, and livestock subsectors under the rubric of agriculture. We have harrowed over 120 acres of land, fenced many farms, provided seeds and seedlings free of cost to over 90 farmers. Over 900 trays of sweet peppers have been provided free of cost to farmers. 96 trays of melons and 192 trays of squash have been distributed to farmers. Our fishers have and will continue to receive fishing wire, hooks, ropes, fish traps, fishing line, and safety equipment. In sum, therefore, since we have unveiled our stimulus package, we have in fact had the benefit of nigh over $80 million of that amount already expended through the government and the various public sector entities that have been part and parcel of this process. We have excluded from that computation the significant number of persons who would have benefited from moratorium arrangements. Tonight, I want to again bid special welcome to the three other panelists who have joined me and will provide further information and insights and be available to address the questions as they come. Our Financial Secretary, Mrs. Hilary Hazel, our Deputy Financial Secretary, Mrs. Sylvia Manning-Gums, and the Director of Social Security, Antonia Maynard. I bid them welcome and again say thank you to all those who are viewing this program. I hope, as all programs have been, this one will be quite informative. You will learn a lot about what is happening in our country, and you will be able to make informed decisions. It has been a singular honor for me to serve St. Kitts and Nevis as the third Prime Minister, and I continue to pledge that I will do all that is humanly possible to advance the just cause, to advance progress, and to advance development in St. Kitts and Nevis. My aim and my desire is to make our beloved country the model of the best managed small island state in the world. Working together in the all of society approach, which have proven so effective and efficacious in the outcome in our fight against COVID-19, I am encouraged that we can. We can make it to the Canaan land, and we certainly can, working together, make St. Kitts and Nevis our Garden of Eden, welcoming those who would wish to come, to be part of a country that represents the best place to live, the best place to raise family, and the best place for people to come together. Thank you very much.